Let's go back to the creation of the human being. What is the format of creation of the human being? Amazingly, the Torah says that God breathed the spirit of life into the human being. Vayipach ba'apav nishmas chaim. Hashem breathed the spirit, nishmat chaim, the neshama of chaim, the soul of life. He breathed a living soul into the human being. V'haya ha'adam lenefesh chaya. And man became, the human being became a living creature. Nephesh chaya. Nephesh is one part of the soul. It's the life-giving part of the soul, the animation part. And that became the human being. After having a divine soul infused into him, he became a living creature. The Aramaic translation, the Targum, says something amazing. It translates the Hebrew words nephesh chaya as ruach mamalala, which means a speaking being. That's the translation of a living creature. Now notice two changes he makes. Now you know that a translation is always an interpretation, and the Targum is certainly giving you not simply the Aramaic equivalent, he's bringing out the meaning. Notice that he changes the word nephesh to ruach. Very interesting. Why did he do that? Nephesh means the lowest part of the soul, the living part, the part that does not leave when you're sleeping, the part that keeps you breathing and the heart beating, right? It's the physiological functions of life. That's called the nephesh. The ruach is the higher part. Ruach is one step above nephesh. Ruach is the part where your consciousness resides, not simply the physiological functions of life. This is where we call, what we call in English, your mind. The mind and its capacity to think and to reason, right? That, and where free will resides, that's called the ruach. Now notice what the Targum did. He had the word nephesh chaya, a living being, and he translated as a ruach. Very interesting. Why did he see fit to translate the basic function of life into the higher function of ruach? And then he calls it ruach mamalala, a speaking being. This means clearly that the identity of the human as being alive in the world, the human fulfilling what it is to be a human, is to be a speaking being. And the word ruach always means the agency of speech. Again, without going into too much detail, notice that the word ruach means air moving. And nephesh means where the soul comes to rest, vayinafash, where the soul comes to rest. The one step above that, which is called ruach, always means, in Hebrew, ruach means a wind. Wind by definition is air moving. You can't have a still wind. So wind means where air moves. And speech is the process of movement. It is generated, the carrier wave, if you like. The mode of speaking is the production of breath, which is then vocalized. So ruach means the part of the spirit that is moving, and it's a speaking being. So here is the definition of a human being. The definition of a human being is a creature who can speak. And that is the essence. And why is that so? Well, let's go back one step further. How did God create the world in the first place? How did Hashem create the world? He spoke it into being. He manifests his own being in speech. When it says Vayomer Elokim, it is childish to think that he gave instruction. They translate it as God said, let there be light. So you know the beginner thinks it means God said, well, to whom? Well, I guess he had some helpers. Maybe he spoke to some angels, and he told them make light. That's not what it means. Vayomer Elokim said means that Hashem said the word or, he said the word light, and that manifested, crystallized, condensed into the concept of, into light. It doesn't mean he gave instruction. It means his speaking is creation, right? His speaking is a creation. Again, the way the world was created originally, the mode of creation of the world was speaking. And what did God create? A speaking being, which means a person, a creature who can also create by means of speech. Notice that the world is created in two modes. Hashem speaks it into being and acts it into being. That's why the Torah says Vayomer Elokim, and God said, and it says Vayas Elokim, and God did. Notice that there are two ways that Hashem expresses himself. One is he speaks and speaks things into being, and the second is that he acts, right? He performs actions with his hands, and he manifests things into being with action. How do human beings express themselves in the world? Same two modes. You can speak and you can act.